Believe it or not, the SEC basketball season has officially returned. 14 teams made the NCAA tournament a season ago, and an SEC team hoisted the hardware at season's end. Will that be the case this year in the 2025-2026 season? Helping us break it all down, one of the best in the business. He played in this league for the Florida Gators. He now serves as an analyst over at SEC Network, does fantastic work. Again, Patric Young joining the show. Patric, really appreciate you taking the time, man. And like you and I were talking about pre-show, man, really excited. College basketball season is finally back. Non-conference play certainly in full swing, and it's going to lead us right into January when we get back into conference play. And the SEC going to try to duplicate what they did a season ago.
Yeah, and I think thanks for having me on, brother. Really appreciate it. Shout out to our buddy Mike Gillespie that made the connection. Big time Florida, South Carolina guy. He's kind of mixed in there. But, I mean, what a time to be alive. Like, SEC sports are in a great space in terms of just some teams really separating themselves and the parity that we're seeing. And to your listeners, hey, we're right in the heat and the thick of it of football season, but hopefully you can listen here long enough so when it is time for things rolling, you'll know some players and some key things to listen to as the season's going on, because there are some outstanding games that are just getting buried in college, in not only NFL, but in college football as well, which I never seem to understand that.
Well, like you mentioned, Patrick, again, there's a lot of excitement around the league because you are right. We're in the heat of the football grind right now in the middle of November, but a lot of great games taking place and a lot of great teams. And where does the excitement stem from? Well, the fact that, Patrick, 14 teams made the NCAA tournament a season ago. The league had an incredible 185-23 record in non-conference play. That's an 89% winning percentage.
Wow.
Of course, Auburn won the regular season title. Florida won the conference tournament and the national championship. Patrick, I'll just simply ask you this as we go into it. Again, 14 of 16 made the postseason, made the big dance. Patrick, is there any way that you see that the league can repeat its dominance from a season ago? Again, they set records last year. Hitting that mark maybe feels like a little bit far-fetched, but, I mean, once again, I think we could argue the league's as deep as it's ever been yet again.
Yeah, man, that's such a great question, and that's obviously the type of questions that you go into every season. The landscape has changed so much, man. Like the fact that it's hard to have any type of stability for these college programs of bringing guys back. It's not to say it's up in air. We just have to wait to see the games. I think first you go to like Greg Sankey years ago. I'll take it a step back. I think my senior year that we went to the Final Four, we went undefeated in the league. And I didn't really think about it from this perspective, comparing this current SEC landscape that we have. Only 3 teams from my senior year in the SEC went to the tournament. It was me, us, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Greg Sankey, at some point, within 3 years and when I graduate, pushed that the SEC really takes a look at their coaches. We need to bring in great quality level coaches, and the SEC has that. I mean, last year, for example, I don't know too much about Porter Moser at Oklahoma. Dari Noka on the network, he's an Oklahoma guy. It's also my producer. We had a few Oklahoma guys. They were so excited when they came into the league. I'm like, this guy looks like such a hard ass. I mean, if you look at Porter Moser, you think, oh, there's no way guys really like playing for this guy. And yet you see, like, they struggled for a good bit of last year. They had a really good kid, Jeremiah Fears, that ended up getting drafted. I really didn't think he was that good, but, you know, the NBA scouts, they see things I don't sometimes. But they won an important game at the end of the season that pretty much solidified them making the tournament. The way his players reacted in the locker room, I'm like, you can't fake that. So it just goes to show, like, a guy like him, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, 17 years ago, 18 years ago, 19 years ago, 20 years ago, 21 years ago, 22 years ago, 23 years ago, 24 years ago, 25 years ago, 26 years ago, 27 years ago, 28 years ago, 29 years ago, 30 years ago, 31 years ago, 32 years ago, 33 years ago, 34 years ago, 35 years ago, 36 years ago, 37 years ago, 38 years ago, 39 years ago, 40 years ago, 41 years ago, 42 years ago, 43 years even their situation is even different. Oklahoma being a new school coming into our conference and having to compete in this powerhouse that is now SEC basketball has proven like, hey, like don't count us out. But the thing is, Chris, and you know this, my guy, it's levels to this. If Oklahoma wants to ever hoist some hardware, they're going to have to spend some money. Their basketball facility is awful. And they just need you got to have money to get players nowadays. And just having good coaching isn't enough. Mm-hmm. You got to have the funds to keep your guys, hopefully to bring some stability. And I say all that, it's not that it's up in air for who can win it all this year. We got to see the games. But Kentucky, Denzel Aberdeen, watch out for that guy. He might win Sixth Man of the Year.
You mentioned the race to win it all, Patrick. And again, coming into the season, we're about 2 weeks into the season now, but we had 6 teams ranked in the preseason AP Top 25 poll, with Florida coming in at number 3, Kentucky 9, Arkansas 14, Bama 15, Tennessee 18, and then Auburn at 20. But I want to jump to what you were just talking about, Patrick, the coaches of this league, because I'd agree with you. Over the last 5 years or so, 5+ years, the coaching has just taken a step to a level that I don't think many of us maybe even knew it could get to. But I do want to pick your brain on this. We got 3 new coaches in the league this year. Sean Miller over at Texas, Bucky McMillan at Texas A&M, and then Stephen Pearl, which was not expected. What was that, about a month before tip-off?
Yeah, man.
Bruce Pearl announces he's stepping down. Now it's his son, Stephen Pearl, taking over at Auburn. Your thoughts on those 3 new head coaches and expectations for each in their first season?
Shoot, who to start with? I got to say, I'll start with Bruce Pearl and Stephen Pearl. First, just, my admiration for the Pearl family, especially for Bruce. When you think about his journey, especially from Tennessee to Auburn, how he was able to build that program to what it is now. I mean, I don't know what their number is of consistent home sellouts, but it's like they're crushing it. I mean, in all respect to my Auburn fans that are going to be listening, when I played my 4 years, Auburn was terrible. Like, look, and I want to be real, like, it's not good for athletes to admit this, but sometimes, you go to a game and you see who's on the schedule and you're like, we're about to walk, like, we can sleepwalk through this win. And that's what we thought. So I'm sorry, but that's the truth, Auburn fans. But anyways, in regards to that, look where the program is now. I mean, 2 Final Fours, multiple first-round draft picks, SEC. I had forgotten that they won the regular season last year. I thought Florida pulled a sweep, but they didn't. I have no doubt that Stephen Pearl might have a little bit of growing pains. He's not like his dad. Like, he's so much more crisp. Bruce wore his emotions on his sleeves. He told you what he wanted to say when he was going to say. I love that. Like, tell me what I need to hear. Like, coach, I don't want to see this plastic version of you and then, you're somebody completely in a different other space. But he's got a tough task. Look, he's bringing back one player. He's bringing back one guy, Tahad Pettiford, which absolutely is a wonderful player to be building a roster off of. But how are these other 11 teammates going to acclimate? Like, what are their roles? It's going to be it's a big coaching job that he has from year one. But look, I doubted Auburn a few times in my first years with SEC, and Bruce Pearl proved me wrong every single time. It's interesting, Sean Miller, he's had a decent amount of success. Arizona, Xavier, does he have the ability and the capability at Texas? They have high expectations. Texans, they think they're good. They want to win everything. I can't say, last year, I didn't think, their programs was very good either, but they made the tournament. They had a really good stud freshman that got drafted. But this is a completely new team. I think maybe 2 or 3 guys they're bringing back. But I think the most excited, keep your eye out for Bucky Ball. People are pretty excited about it. It's it's just so crazy, man. You get so used to seeing one style of play for an organization for a while, and your brain as a fan has kind of gotten used to like, oh, that's just how Texas A&M basketball is always going to be. And it's like, nah, new coach, completely new system. In all honesty, and I love my guy Buzz Williams. He's one of my favorite coaches. He's over at Maryland now. It was hard to watch their style of play sometimes. It was hard to watch because, they have two guys that could really go. They could really score it, but at a high volume, but they rebounded the heck out of the ball. The part of the reason why you're such a good offensive rebounding team, this makes sense, is because you miss a lot of shots. But yeah, I mean, those three coaches are, the time will tell. Are they going to be great additions to helping the SEC? I mean, if they get 10 teams in this year, I think that's still a great success.
Mm. Yeah, last year might have spoiled us just a little bit with, again, getting 14 of 16. If you get double digits, then again, I think you're doing well. On the flip side of that, Patrick, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the couple of coaches that are on a hot seat or under some pressure coming into the season. I think your top candidates for that, Lamont Paris over at South Carolina, Porter Moser, who you mentioned, over at Oklahoma, Matt McMahon at LSU. And what do all three of those programs have in common? I think you're correct in your analysis of, is the investment to win at the highest level on the hardwood truly there? Either way, those three guys, the three you really talk about when it comes to hot seat, are there any others that I might be missing that you think are under a great deal of pressure coming into this season?
Oh, man, yeah, you're right on it. Gosh, man, it's tough, man. I love Lamont. I think he has such a great attitude, leadership. Really, in his first two seasons, especially his first seasons, they overperformed. They've been underranked every season and overperformed. Last year wasn't a good season, but how crazy, man! I mean, if Michi Johnson is back, he left and went to Ohio State point guard. Had one of his best games last year, his final year at South Carolina, for reference, was at Kentucky. They went to Kentucky, South Carolina, and beat them. And that was an Oscar Sheboy team? That might have been an Oscar Sheboy team as well, yeah. Which is like, by the way, what a stud in college. That kid, look, I'm not a Kentucky fan, but every time Oscar Sheboy was on the court, you just have to put that out there for Kentucky fans to hopefully appreciate that. One of my favorite college basketball players of all time. Without a doubt, on and off the court, the way he led his team, the way he, for me personally, the way he was so vocal with his faith and how that guides him, and his humility. But look, my man's in the NBA now, making it work with the Pacers. But Lamont Paris, man, if Michi Johnson comes back last year, I think South Carolina probably wins 5 or 6 more games in the SEC, including a win over the University of Florida. They had great difficulties in late games when they had leads, taking care of the ball. You put that press on them, it was over. And Florida wasn't even a pressing team, but they did what they had to do in that moment. And Will Richard got like 4 steals in 3 minutes. It was unbelievable. Mac McMahon, man, he just hasn't gotten enough talent there. He brought some good players from Murray State before, but just not enough. He's had some issues with health. I can't remember, as a young man, he got injured early last season. He's playing all year this year. Hopefully, Jalen Reed, he missed all of last season with an ACL, I believe. So he's back this full season. And who was the last one? Porter Moser.
Yeah, Porter.
He needs help, man. He needs help. I don't know. Yeah, we might see some mix up here coming into next season. We'll see. I mean, but dude, come on, man. Being a fired head coach, Division I coach in the SEC, is that not the dream?
There are worse things at this point, at this stage, when it comes to the buyouts and whatnot. Patrick, I want to get, again, back to the top of the league. The big question is this. Again, you're a Gator, so let's talk about the Gators. They're going to try to do something that not many have been able to do. That's go back-to-back and win it all. Again, preseason top 5 team. This team's as talented as any in college basketball. But, again, going back-to-back is a lot more difficult than just having a great head coach, having great players. Some things have obviously got to break your way. The ball's got to bounce your way. You pick up a guy like Boogie Flan, which is just massive. He's been great thus far. You got to replace a guy like a Walter Clayton Jr. who hit some massive shots for you down the stretch last year. What do you see with this Gators team, and what do you think the likelihood is that they can go back-to-back, win back-to-back national championships?
Well, first, I think it's so hard to guarantee a championship. Like, I feel much more comfortable guaranteeing like an Elite Eight or a Final Four. Because I think once you're in that top 16, if you got a team that can be in that top 16 for the year, I think they really, like, anything can happen in the tournament being one game. I think, you know, top 16s around there, they usually have a dog. They got a guy, or they bring some dynamic to the game that's their personality, like Houston. Like, Houston gonna hold you down. You're not scoring more than 60 points against Houston. That's just that's just it. You got to find a way to keep them low and make your free throws. But for Florida, I mean, so far, you know, the same exact phrasing I would use. I heard a lot at the beginning of football season, like NFL and college. You're never as good as your first game, and you're never as bad as it either. And I think in basketball, especially now, you need a few more games to work things out. Like, especially Xavier Lee coming from Princeton. Look, I'll say this, you know, because fans will, you know, they'll make whatever excuse. He's not shooting very well right now. That three-point line is the same that it was in Princeton as it is in Gainesville and elsewhere. And he's shooting these shots with confidence. Right now, he's a point guard that, you know, Florida's really high on. He's just not knocking them down. And this is so crazy. I just found this out. I hung out with the team before their game against Miami last night, and I was catching up with Coach Golden. And, you know, I love Coach, man. He's so open. He's so cool. He's such a player's coach, because he knows when to take the serious moments serious. And, you know, like, he's not one of those coaches that has to control every freaking detail of everything. Like, I've played for many teams in my career where, like, you can't leave the hotel. Like, go for a walk. Like, you can't go for a walk. Dude, what in the world? I get it. But things are just different now. But Coach Golden has this NBA drill that he makes all the players go through involved in shooting. He's been doing it for years. He's been, you know, he's probably, let's just say he's done this drill for the last decade. Hundreds of players have gone through. He said Xavier Lee has set the record in all of his shooting drills. Like, he said he's the best shooter that he's ever had go through this stuff. The shots just aren't falling right now for some reason. But once it clicks, if he turns into the guy, because I haven't seen Boogie Flan find his identity yet. If Xavier Lee turns into a guy that's, you know, in his own way similar to affecting the game like Walter Clayton, I will guarantee a Final Four. I absolutely will.
And it feels like, Patrick, obviously they're the team to beat in the SEC. They're the favorites. You mentioned Kentucky you like a lot. It feels kind of like last year where we've got this top tier of teams, this cluster of teams, and it kind of falls into our tier 2. So when it comes to teams that can challenge Florida, win the SEC, like you said, Kentucky's got to be right up there. Alabama with Nate Oates, still tons of talent. Don't sleep on John Calipari in Arkansas. They've got a good squad.
Right.
Obviously, you talk Rick Barnes, Tennessee. What's the cutoff for you? Like, when it comes to teams that you believe can win the regular season title, for whatever it means, obviously, right? Because that's not the end-all, be-all. Of course, Auburn wins it last year, and then Florida wins the Natty. So, I mean, it's not the end-all, be-all. But, like, what's that collection of teams for you at the top that you think are going to be fighting for that top spot?
You should wait to ask me that at the end of the month, or wait to ask me that probably the first week of December, because we still got some really, really good non-conference games. And I think about at that point, you can, with playing more games, I think I can make a much better estimated guess at that point. But I think you can never count out Alabama. That style of play, when those guys get hot, it's 3-and-D. We're getting up a lot of shots. We're defending you pretty well. We're getting on the glass. They get to the free throw line. Like, they're getting to the basket. They're getting threes. They're getting offensive rebounds. Like, Alabama, they don't need to be a great defensive team. They just can't have nights where they go 4 for 40 from the three-point line. And I've seen that happen. What teams were able to do to Mark Sears last year and take him out of games completely, that was crazy. It's crazy not to see him. I mean, he was Alabama basketball, the past 3 years. I will never count them out. I will never count out a Coach Calipari. I mean, they went to the Elite Eight last year, or one game away from the Elite Eight. They should have beaten Texas Tech, honestly. And how crazy is it to think if Arkansas goes to the Elite Eight, they're technically the worst seed. They'd be the quote unquote Cinderella story, because in all honesty, we're not. I will be so surprised if you ever see a Loyola Marymount or something like that go to the Final Four. I don't know if that's ever going to happen again. But Rick Barnes over at Tennessee, without a doubt, I know they have a great freshman. Man, some of these kids, like, dude, this is Cooper Flagg's class, by the way. He's supposed to be in this group. I don't know if he'd be drafted number 1 if he was in this group. The kid over at BYU is unbelievable. That kid Koa Pete, I'm not sure if you saw the Florida-Arizona game. That kid Koa Pete, he 4-time state champion, 3-time Mr. Arizona. So, like, I think his parents, and I believe he has siblings that are superstar athletes as well. So, like, keep your eye out for that kid. It was no fluke that he had 31 points against Florida in Arizona. But, Kentucky, they got beat by Louisville, which is weird they had that game so early. Owe, he was my pick for player of the year in the SEC. He brings, and I hope your fans will get to watch him play this year that aren't Kentucky fans. He's like the kind of guy that played football, but he actually knows, like, the way he plays, you're like, man, that guy played football for sure. Because his brother, Otika Owe's brother, played in the NFL, but he knows the limits of how much he can do. You can be physical up to a limit in basketball, not like football, obviously. And he knows how to use that to his ability to. That's why he dominates. That's why, like, he's a guard with this running back mindset, and it's such a beauty to watch, because I hate those guys that go to the basket and fall down every time. Nah, he's in that mindset when he's attacking the rim. Think of it like when you run a guy over and you stand over him real quick, like, oh man, DB, I ain't feel that. But I did actually. I want to get your opinion on, like, is there anything, like, what's the first thing that you would change in the college landscape of sports right now? I'm very curious.
I think you got to put limitations on the portal or NIL. I think having both so uncapped and so wide open together is what's created some chaos. I mean, there's pros of it, obviously. You can flip a roster over. I mean, we know college basketball, you were able to do that anyways with freshmen, but now you can really flip a roster overnight with, just the ability to – essentially it's free agency. I mean, I was going to bring that up to you too. I think one of the biggest storylines of the league is half of the top 10 returning rebounders from a season ago are at different schools, still in the SEC. So, like, a Boogie Flan's an example, but literally half of them from the SEC are in a different SEC school this season. So, I mean, I just think you got to put guardrails up. You got to put some sort of cap. Like, you got to pick one or the other. I don't think you can have portal and NIL be wide open. I mean, I think that's the low-hanging fruit, but that's the thing that it's bigger than a basketball issue. But, yeah, it's we have no sympathy for them because they're getting paid so much. But, I mean, it's the job of a head coach has never been more difficult, more nonstop, 24/7 than it is right now.
Yeah, and how do we get like a correct proposal? Because I want it to remain in a situation where everyone wins. I want everybody to win, right? We all want everyone to benefit from what's happening: the schools, the coaches, the players, the fans. But the coaches are just getting so hosed right now because, look, these men have families. And yes, they've already taken up a huge task, which their families and their lives, like everything revolves around them. They've chosen this path. Absolutely. But it is like now, for one, the passion in which most of these coaches have gotten into this, it is not the same. The reason, like, if I'm a coach and I've given everything to this, brother, I feel like I want you to know you're right for my program. I love your family. I want to help you to become a better man. But how much are you going to pay me? I mean, that's just like, that's soul sucking. Is there a way to give, either as a freshman, you have to stay at least 2 years, or even in your first transfer, just something that brings a little bit of continuity. Because then there's a, you can have a contract. You don't have, like, hey, we got this guy locked down. We don't have to worry about, now we can truly focus on play. How can I help you get better? What pieces can I try to bring in to help this guy become a better rebounder? Do I need to bring in some competition? Because, a lot of it is, gosh, now I got to recruit. I got to think about replacement every year, just in case. I mean, the number one primary example that's, of course, I'm personally invested in this one because I'm a Gator. But, the Gators losing Denzel Aberdeen because of money, I mean, it sucks. And the kid's playing great, man. He's averaging 16 a game at Kentucky right now. I think he's shooting 40%, 45% from the three-point line. Could the Gators use that? If they had him, my answer would have been different. Would have been different earlier. But and he's such a good kid. I don't want people to think it was only about the money. Obviously, he knew this was a great opportunity for him to go and play there as well. But it's not guaranteed he'd make this much money the rest of his life. Let's look at it from that perspective. But that alone, man, like, how gut wrenching is it for a coach when they really know if they, Coach Golden, if he could have kept that guy, the conversation about this team and their record is completely different in this moment. But I guess it's fair because it can happen to everybody. But it just rubs me the wrong way, man.
The convos go far beyond culture and fit and facilities, obviously. There's a lot more to it now. Patrick, I wanted to get your take too. Again, we talked about the top of the league, but I think the thing, and it's like this in every other sport in the SEC, but the thing that makes this league so good is the depth in the middle of the league. Like teams like Ole Miss, Missouri, Mississippi State, what Mark Byington's doing at Vandy. We mentioned Texas and Texas A&M both have new head coaches. We haven't even really talked about Auburn, who, again, won the regular season last year. Like you said, only return a single player, but they've got tons of talent. Is there a team in the middle of the pack? Georgia's another one. I think Georgia fans are excited about their team.
I know.
Is there a team in the middle of the pack that you like, that you think people should keep an extra close eye on, you think could jump up and surprise some people this year?
I mean, is it? Nah, they're not. That's not fair. I was going to say Arkansas is my kind of middle of the pack team, but that's
I tend to look at Dennis Gates, man, and Mizzou. What they did last year was crazy. After going 0-18 to have the season they had was wild.
You're right.
So Mizzou feels sneaky to me.
No, I'm glad you said them. No, you're absolutely right. And low key, I think Mark Mitchell is going to have an outstanding year. And I remember I got to, watch him last year. He had some games where he scored like 27, 30 something, I think, last year. And he was just like, I'm like, why can this kid not do this every game? Obviously can't score that much, but it was the way he was doing it. And, us talking about him on the network from time to time, we all just had this belief in how great this kid can be. He can shoot it. He can put it on the ground. He runs well. Like he has great he has great moves and finish. It was just like some games his motor didn't seem like it was there. Like he just wasn't all locked in. And I get it, man. Actually, was he on that 0-18 team? Do you remember?
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I know he's a Duke. I think so, because I know he's a Duke transfer. Yeah, and honestly, I get it. That's a tough task to overcome and to stay in there mentally. But I ran into him at SEC Media Day. I shook his hand and I said, bro, you're the best player on the court every time you walk out there. Please do not forget that. He's like, yeah, man, I appreciate it. I'm like, bro. And I said, bro, I'm serious. You are the best player on the court when you walk out there. Do not forget it. So that's a great sleeper team. If he gets that dog in him and believes that, I think he can carry that team, because Coach Gates, he's brought guys that can shoot. He's always, Caleb Grills last year was unbelievable. I wish he had another year. He was so fun to watch. But yeah, Missouri, they'd probably be my number one sleeper team. Number one.
Yeah, Caleb Grill kind of reminded me of that Dalton Connect type of vibe. That just lethal shooter at times.
Well, Dalton Connect, what a year that was to watch. Man, he was special. Yeah. That probably, in my opinion, he might be one of the top transfers since I've been at the network. Him and Janai Broome were probably some of the top transfers, and Mark Sears as well, to Walter Clayton. Who else am I forgetting? I love how these names, it's funny. You say one name, and you're like, oh, you can't forget about Walter Clayton from Iona. He was a 0-star recruit.
It's crazy.
He was a 0-star recruit, man. And one interesting thing about his story, he was a football player. He was a 5-star recruit as a football player, but loved basketball. Said, I didn't want to play football, wanted to go on to play college basketball. His senior year is during COVID. So his prospects of going to any type of camps, et cetera, to get recruited, to get seen, is not like he doesn't have a lot of offers at this point, because most college coaches, they've moved on from him, thought he was gonna play football. Chandler Parsons, he has some like online virtual clinic during COVID for a bunch of high school kids. A coach at Iona sees him on this clinic, and that's how Walter Clayton gets recruited to go play for Rick Pitino up in Iona, which, he plays well in Iona, transfers down to Florida. The rest is history. Can't make this stuff up. That's why I love sports, man. Freaking love it.
Stories, man. You can't script it.
Can't script it.
Yeah. Patric Young, again, one of the best in the business. Patrick, this has been a blast. Last thing before I get you out of here, we started the show with this question. We're going to end the show with this question. I'm going to put you on the spot. You got to give me a number right now, and it can change, but right now, how many teams is the SEC getting in the big dance?
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't feel bad at all this one. If you ask my guy Damian Fishback, he's going to say PY. There's no reason I don't believe 16 teams can get in. It's like, damn, Fish, you got to be real, bro. Like, come on. I feel good about a team like Georgia, a team like, I think Oklahoma can make it happen again. I think A&M. I'm going to say 11.
It'd be a good year, too. Be a good year. I think that'd be a really good year.
That's still a really good year.
Like you said, not long ago was the SEC fighting to get 4 or 5 in there. So, yeah,
I know,
double
right?
digits.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, double digits would be a good year.
The last thing I'll say, I just remember, last year was such a special year. Like I said none of the stuff that the SEC achieves matters unless somebody wins the championship. And it could have been Auburn, 2 teams in the Final Four, I think like 8 teams in the Sweet 16, just a bunch of ridiculous stats. That year absolutely was one of the best in terms of a league ever. And it goes to show, man, number of kids that are in the NBA. Even, look, man, last thing, Will Richard, last guy to get drafted from Florida this year, guard. He is killing it for the Golden State Warriors right now. He's averaging their last 4 or 5 games 25 points. It's unbelievable. That league, the SEC, not only are we are we all about football, it's about the basketball too, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you don't miss out on conference play and the rest of the season this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. The race to it again, the race to March is officially on, Patrick. It starts right now. Lock in. Again, a lot of good non-conference games. Feast week will be here before you know it. We're off and running in this college basketball season. Patric Young, one of the best in the business. Really appreciate you taking the time, Patrick. Let folks know, in case they've been living under a rock, where they can check you out, all your great work and everything you're doing.
I mean, it's Patric Young without a K. My mother, why did she do that? But search that pretty much anywhere. The number 4. I have a foundation. That's a big part of my time, trying to raise money for people that have had spinal cord injuries like I do. Like when you guys see me on SEC Network, you'll see that I'm in a wheelchair because I had a spinal cord injury some years back, and now inspired to help as many people that have gone through the same thing. So raising money to help impact lives, just trying to be a light. Hopefully every time you guys see me anywhere, it's a positive message, because that's what I'm trying to do. So love sports, love everything that it's done for me in my life, and being able to have this platform. So thank you for the opportunity to be out here, man.
Yeah, Patrick, you're the man. Let's definitely do it again soon.
Absolutely. Have a great day.